Trey Lance. Once again, if you were sleeping under a rock yesterday afternoon or last night, Trey Lance traded from the 49ers to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. Were you surprised, Michael, by the destination? Because I think we bandied about on the podcast, on the GM Shuffle podcast, that, hey, there could be a trade, but maybe it's unlikely because who's going to give up the assets? But trade was always in the discussion. Were you surprised that it happened to be the Dallas Cowboys who entered the conversation?
Well, you never know what the grade of the player is. When you're dealing with someone like Trey Lance, who doesn't have a lot of pro experience, most of the teams, what they'll do is go back to what they graded the player coming out. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys, it's been reliably told to me that they had a second-round grade, a high second-round grade on Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. They did not have a first-round grade on him, but they liked some of the things he did athletically. And I think they've turned the corner that Will Grier, their third-string quarterback, just isn't going to cut it. And so, they felt like they had a need. This has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. This has everything to do with they had an opportunity to get a guy that they had a high grade on coming out, and their third-string quarterback wasn't what they thought he would be. And for this season, he's only going to cost them $950,000.
Yep.
Now, next year he'll cost just a little over $5 million. So for 2 years at basically $3.1 million, the Cowboys get to look at a guy who they had a high grade on, who really hasn't played a lot in terms of games. Now, he's practiced, but he has in terms of games. So they get a chance to evaluate the player moving forward. People talk about, they gave up a 4th-round pick. Do you realize if you're in the 3rd round, you can move down 12 spots and pick up a 4th-round pick? It's really not that, it wasn't a lot to pay. This is a Saturday pick for a guy that was picked 3rd overall in the draft. So you're not giving up a lot. And, the Niners get away from the guarantee. They paid the roster bonus this summer when he came to training camp. Remember, rookie contracts, you're not allowed to redo them, right? So nobody can go in and manipulate the contract. You got to take the contract as is. So they've paid the roster bonus already in terms of San Francisco. That counts against their cap. Now they get him, and his cap number is just a base salary of $950. And then next season he shoots up to, he has a roster bonus and a base salary. So for them, they're kicking the tires is essentially what they're doing. Is it an expensive kick the tires? I don't know, because I think the reward is if they feel like they can get him to become a backup quarterback, or if they feel like he could become somebody that they could develop, maybe it's worthwhile. For me, would I have done it? No, I would not have. But I didn't have a 2nd-round grade on Trey Lance when he came out in the draft. So I think there lies the difference.
What was your grade on Trey Lance when he was coming out of North Dakota State a few years ago?
My sense of Trey Lance was it was good athlete. What bothered me about Trey Lance was what I've learned from Coach Walsh going back. Don't take the one-year player or the good play and look forward. Take it and look back. Why did he go to North Dakota State? What happened at the University of Minnesota? Were they recruiting him? It's the same kind of conversation I had with Mitchell Trubisky. Mm-hmm. Mitchell Trubisky's Mr. Ohio in the state of Ohio, but he's at North Carolina. Well, Ohio State offered him, but they want him to play free safety. The University of Minnesota offered Trey Lance, but they want him to play another position. So what prompted that? You have to dig into that. And I just felt like when you watched him play, it was sheer talent, but there wasn't a rhythm. His arm was never tied to his feet, and so people get so caught up in, oh my God, this guy, how many clips of Anthony Richardson do I have to watch on Twitter of him throwing the ball all over the place? We know he can throw it all over. But can he throw it in rhythm? Can he throw it in timing? And is his feet tied to his arm? I just never felt it was the right marriage for Kyle. It never was in his offense to me, And what was that rhetoric we heard? Well, he's going to change Kyle's offense. Well, he's not. Now he's in Dallas's offense, and we'll see how that works.
Yeah, and we've talked about how the 30 for 30 needs to be made about Trey Lance being drafted by the 49ers after moving up those 3 first-round picks to number 3 overall. Who was involved? Maybe it was the general manager, John Lynch, who spoke with KPIX, Bob Papa, and those guys, Greg Papa and those guys yesterday during the 49ers preseason game against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, really hard day. Such a wonderful young man. We took a shot and it didn't work out. We own that. We take accountability for it. But I think, as I think you guys do, his story is still very much unwritten, and I'm excited for Trey. Dallas stepped up and really wanted him, and they came after him. And I think it's going to be a great landing spot for him. I could tell everybody it wasn't for lack of effort on Trey's part or on our part that it didn't work. Circumstances took hold, and he struggled through injuries, and this team's ready to win. And, we like our quarterback room. We like Brock Purdy a lot. We like Sam Darnold, and we like Brandon Allen. So we wish Trey all the best in Dallas, and we'll always care about that young man and admire his work ethic and the person that he is.
So according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Trey Lance requested the trade on Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 49ers then discussed some deals with some teams. Sounds like it wasn't just the Dallas Cowboys, the Ravens, the Bills, the Lions had some interest as well. Dallas went ahead and gave the best deal, with that being the 4th round pick here. But I think, like you said, kudos to the 49ers for not falling for the sunk cost and saying, all right, hey, we did pay a pretty penny to get this guy, but it's just not going to work here. Let's abort mission and try something else. And hey, we have found a guy, at least in 7 games, that we like right now to lead our quarterback room.
Well, John can say what he said. The story hasn't been written because he has only started 4 games. He's 2-2. But they wouldn't be making this move if they didn't know what the ending of the story was, right? He's not, they felt like Sam Darnold's better. They actually felt, I think, really, in all honesty, I think they felt Brandon Allen was better.
Yeah, I think so too.
For what they want to do. I mean, that's pretty clear. Like, all through when he didn't come to work on Wednesday, there was a sense that Brandon Allen was the guy that they actually were going to keep as the 3rd. I mean, this really worked out well for them to be able to trade him. And also it worked out that they got away from the $5 million guaranteed next year, which that money can then go to Bosa. They eat a lot of cap room in this. But look, the story has been written in San Francisco, and you and I have had this debate on GM Shuffle. They watched him. I mean, just because we haven't seen him in games doesn't mean the story hasn't been written. Now, can he improve? Well, if they thought there was a huge upside, they wouldn't have signed Sam Darnold. They wouldn't have let Sam Darnold be the backup. Like, you've got to read the tea leaves here. Sam Darnold came in there. They knew last year this wasn't going to work. They've been planning on this. They've tried to masquerade it. And let's face it, Trey Lance is a popular person on Twitter. No matter what, even though he doesn't play, everybody, thinks immediately he's going to take over for Dak Prescott. I mean, like, seriously. No, he's not. He's not going to take over for Cooper Rush. They're going to see what they have. And they're going to make a decision and see how he grows and moves forward. It'll be a different offense for him to learn. It'll be a different structure for him to understand. His talent will certainly help the Cowboys. They get ready to play Philadelphia. Look, Trey Lance will do a good Jalen Hurts impersonation in practice. There's no question, so that'll help them.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.